What are you doing?
Oh, I keep losing with Nekroz, so I'm thinking about playing one of the bad ones. Here, how do these sound? Nekroz of LaCroix.
No.
Nekroz of McDonald.
No.
Nekroz of nothing.
No, put your shirt back on. Come on. You could just play rituals that aren't Nekroz.
Oh, yeah.
Hey everybody, Joseph Rothschild here, aka MBT, back again with another episode of 10-Minute Testing. You've heard me tell you it's awful on stream, you've seen it get swiftly 2-0'd on Locals Live, and you've demanded it nonetheless. It's finally time to give the people what they want. Straight from the back of my bulk, the deck I've been tinkering with in tournament, presenting Ritual Good Stuff. But, mostly Nekroz. So here's the list, and wow, really living up to my old moniker Mono Blue here. As always, I'll give you a background about the archetype, a little bit of a discussion about what I hope the deck can do, and of course, the card by card. So firstly, for those of you that don't know, rituals are the most maligned, most mistreated summoning type that Konami has ever printed. A relic from a past in which deliberately minusing yourself was defensible, they were never given adequate support throughout almost the entirety of their lifespan. Maybe it has to do with the 1999 outcry against devil worshipping in children's card games, maybe Konami simply doesn't believe that blue lives matter. I don't know. Whatever the case, in recent years they've been atoning for the abandonment of the occult and printing extremely powerful playmakers for our blue buds. Cards like Pre-Preparation of Rites have been careful to dance around the very few playable ritual monsters ever printed, but they've finally thrown caution to the winds with the Impcantations and decided, hey, if you want to play with Brionac, knock yourself out. This isn't Duelist Alliance anymore. Our list integrates a suite of semi-playable rituals alongside a consistent core of Nekroz monsters. While Turn 2 Trishula might have been game-winning 10 formats ago when Jinlock was still viable, relying on any single monster effect to resolve, or for a 2300 attack conditional skill drain to survive a turn is a quick ticket to an X4 finish. Because of this, we're playing monsters designed to lock our opponent out of the game more effectively than Unicorn would, and end games turns earlier than Trishula can. When going first, our pre-prep suite of Saphira gives us an easy way to send a Cyber Angel Benten for Vanity's Ruler, and when going second, the Shinobirds are amazing on game states that have already been simplified. We're on 50 cards. There's just too much to play. And when any 5-card hand already contains about 4.5 searchers, you're effectively playing with your deck fanned out on the table in front of you anyway. Finally, for any budget duelists in the crowd, firstly, if you don't like the secondary market, why don't you just move to Venezuela? And secondly, if you take out the extravagances, which is totally defensible, you can easily build this blue abomination for under $100. So with that, let's get into the card by card. Firstly, our Impcantations, 2 each of Talismandra, Bookstone, Candle, and Pensaplume. After that, we've got Gale Dogra, a card capable of multiple rituals, removal, or recycling, and all for the low cost of 3,000 life points per activation. You've got to spend money to make money, folks. Next, we've got our searchable lock pieces, a mono for Shino Baroness's effect, and Vanity's Ruler for Benten's. Finally, what would a list in 2019 be without 3 Ash Blossom? For rituals, we've got 3 Chalice Lime, the green viscous fluid that holds the deck together, alongside Nekroz's of Brionac, Trishula, Valkyris, Unicorn, hilariously still limited, and Colossalus. For non-Nekroz Blue Boys, we're on Shino Baroness and Shino Baron Peacock, Saphira, and Cyber Angel Benten. For spells, we're on 3 Extravagance, 3 Called by the Grave, 3 Pre-Prep, 3 Prep, 2 Extra Foolish Burial to send Heralder and Tiss, 1 each of the Nekroz rituals, Shinobird Calling, Hymn of Light, and Impcantation Inception. In the extra, we're on an extravagance board that you really don't need to buy. All that's important is you play a 12-star, 11-star, and 10-star monster for Kaleidoscope, alongside 3 Tiss and 3 Herald for Dogras. I've selected the 12-star Blackwing as a technically synchroable level 12, Star Eater for 11, Chimera Tech Megafleet for 10, 3 each of Ntis and Herald, and 3 Toad and 1 Omega as monsters you can technically benefit off of binning, but for the budget among you, a $12 Toad that comes up once every 100 games just isn't justifiable. So with that, let's jump into the games. Our first match is up against Dark Magician, and don't worry friends, I am holding strong. I will not take this deck seriously, no matter how many pieces of broken support they receive. Before you even ask, of course they're on 2 Timaeus. Our opponent's going first, and our grip is incredible. Let's see what they hope to accomplish. Our opponent's going to lead with a copy of Apprentice Illusion Magician, adding a Dark Magician to hand. Afterwards, they'll Spellbook of Secrets, a copy of Blue Boy. They'll activate Dark Magical Circle with normal summon a Blue Boy, get a copy of Knowledge, which we are happy to ash, and then link summon a Predaplant Verte. What does this do for the deck? They're going to send a copy of Red Eye's Fusion to graveyard and go into Dragoon. Oh my goodness! All of a sudden, we need to beta negate, but Pot of Extravagance is just the card to do that. They'll negate it with Dragoon's effect, and now we're free to pop off. We'll activate Pre-Preparation of Rites, and then activate Kandal's effect, getting a Talisman from deck and a copy of Brionac to hand. We'll send Brionac to the graveyard to get a copy of Kloss, and Kloss to get a copy of Mirror, which we will activate to put this Trishula on board. Thankfully, this effect does not target, so we're free to banish the Dragoon. Afterwards, we can activate Snowbird Calling to get a copy of Peacock to our side of the field and a Mono Awato from deck. We'll attack directly for 14, for 25, and for lethal. While the last game showcased one of the innate strengths of this deck's consistent linear opening, this game showcases one of its main weaknesses. Our opponent's playing Unchained, a deck well suited to any billionaire. It costs so much, and yet accomplishes so little. Let's see what they hope to accomplish in this game. They'll normal summon a copy of Raka and then target their own set card, which of course is an Escape. That's going to trigger both Escape and the Abominable Unchained Soul in their hand. They'll special summon a copy of Disaster from deck before link summoning a Rage and passing it back. For turn, we draw a copy of Brionac. We're going to normal summon a copy of Gale Dogra. They'll effect Veiler, saving us 3,000 life points. We'll activate Extra Foolish to send a copy of Ntis before we control special summoned monsters, then special summon a Kandal from deck and a Talismancer from hand. We'll activate Prep Rites to get a Kloss, and then Kloss to get a Mirror. We'll activate Brionac for a Trishula, then Mirror to special it to our side of the field. We'll banish everything I believe to be relevant before activating Snowbird Calling for extra damage. We get in for 2,700 and 3,000 direct, and then at end step we'll add the Shino Baron Peacock back to our hand. We get a couple of tokens, which unfortunately we don't have anything to do with. Our opponent top decks an Extravagance, but thankfully for us only picks 3. The Fear! They'll Monster Reborn back a Rage and then attack one of our tokens. They'll pass it back to us, but we don't really have a convincing way to present lethal. I expect to go to battle phase and they just let it happen. I'm happy to walk over this copy of Rage, but didn't think I would be allowed to do so. They're going to concede after drawing nothing. That was a weird match, but clearly our deck's inability to present lethal might pose a problem. Well, it's time for Game 3, and you know what that means, a best of 3 versus meta. Our opponent's playing Salamangreat, probably the best deck in the format in terms of setting up multiple interruptions. This will, as per usual, be the ultimate test of our blind second deck to see if it can deal with setup. Our opponent, of course, has drawn Lady Debug. They'll normal summon it to get a copy of Gazelle to hand. Afterwards, they'll link summon a copy of Balinx. Because Lady Debug is not a Salamangreat, they will need to reincarnation summon a Balinx to get a Gazelle out of their hand and a Spinny into their graveyard. Afterwards, they'll overlay for a Mirage Stallion, special summoning a Jack Jaguar before link summoning a Sunlight Wolf, reborning the Jack Jaguar at link point using Sunlight Wolf's effect, going into Balinx and setting 3. For turn, we draw a Bookstone. That's pretty good. We'll activate Pre-Prep. That fetches a Roar from our opponent. Okay, better than not. We'll activate Gale Dogra. Let's start chewing through that back row, and one of them is an enemy controller. Well, that's fine. We can activate the remainder of our hand at this point. They're going to activate Gazelle. We'll activate Bookstone to get a Talismancer from deck. We'll activate Talismancer's effect for Ben 10, then we'll activate Hymn of Light using Ben 10's effect to add a Vanity's Ruler. Unfortunately, we used our normal summon on the Gale Dogra that's currently on our opponent's side of the field, but still better than not having it. We'll pass it back to our opponent, but they should be able to assemble lethal from here, especially when we only have 5,000 life points. They'll go into Update Jammer. Hate to see that card. It always spells the end of the game. Before activating Signet Mining, reincarnation summoning a Sunlight Wolf, special summoning a Foul from hand, and link summoning a Transcode Talker. That'll bring back the Update Jammer, and let's see what happens. They'll attack into our remaining monsters. We will use Hymn of Light's graveyard effect. They will activate enemy controller to take our copy of Saphira and get in for way over lethal. So it's time for Game 2, and I'm gonna stick to my guns and continue to blind second. It looks like we've been rewarded for doing so. We not only have both Shino Baroness Peacock and the Ritual spell, but also Vanity's Ruler. These are 3 cards that are much better if they're not telegraphed. Unfortunately, our opponent has opened Lady Debug again! Didn't we limit this card? Sheesh. Okay, the first thing they're going to do is activate Signet Mining, sending a copy of Sea Archiver to the graveyard for Foul before they normal summon a copy of Lady Debug to get a copy of Gazelle to hand. They'll use Balinx and then special summon a Foul from hand. This is such a cool line. They're then going to activate the Grave effect of Sea Archiver to go into Sunlight Wolf. They'll special summon a Gazelle from hand in order to send a Roar, go to Mirage Stallion, activate Sanctuary, reincarnation summon the Wolf, and then special a Jack Jaguar with Mirage Stallion at link point. That allows them to add back the Roar, set it, and an Infinite Impermanence and pass it back. We're going to lead with a copy of Pot of Extravagance, followed by a Preparation of Rites. They will roar this. That's good news for us. We'll activate Talismandra's effect. When we activate the effect of Candal, they will Veiler it one more piece of interaction. Next, we'll activate Shinobird Calling, targeting that set card and putting it in the same column as Sunlight Wolf as to de-incentivize something like a second Veiler. Unfortunately, they do have the out, but fortunately, they can't beat Vanity's Ruler with this board. Things are looking pretty good. We just have to prevent them from finding any interaction for the next 2 turns. They draw a circle, but I don't think there's anything relevant here. They're going to normal summon a copy of Foxy and find nothing. Luck is on our side. They'll switch that Mirage Stallion to defense position and pass it back. We're going to activate Bookstone's effect, a sweet rip. We'll activate Talismandra's effect to get a copy of Saphira, which we will special summon with her associated ritual spell. We'll attack into the Mirage Stallion, into the Foxy, and into the Bailings, putting them at a cool 3,100 life points, and then at end step ripping this Gazelle out of their hand. For turn, they draw a Flame Buffalo and concede. So it's time for game 3, and oh, folks, I blinked. After seeing how impactful Vanity's Fiend was in that previous game, I figured a very easy way to walk away with the set would just be to go first. Unfortunately, we've been punished. Both copies of Talismandra in the opener, and our opponent has drawn double Infinite Impermanence. We can technically still make it happen. Let's see if they allow us to. We're going to lead with a copy of Preparation of Rites, the only way we can get the Banted to hand, followed by the Talismandra effect to get Candal from deck. When we activate Candal, they will Impermanence it. We're forced to pass because without a ritual spell, this Bookstone is off. Our opponent's going to normal summon a copy of Flame Buffalo and link summon a copy of Bailings. We don't have an Ash, so I don't even get to complain about the chain blocking. They'll activate Sanctuary, then use Foxy's effect. They'll special summon a copy of Sea Archiver from hand and Spinny from graveyard before going into Mirage Stallion to special Gazelle. They'll activate Gazelle's effect, setting a Jack Jaguar before going into Sunlight Wolf twice, reborning the Jack Jaguar at link point in order to trigger the effect of Sunlight Wolf and attacking over our monster for piercing damage, come on, and 2,000 to the face. They'll link summon a copy of Bailings, set 2 and pass, still looking for a ritual spell. We'll activate Pre-Preparation of Rites, they have the Roar. We'll activate Talismandra in hand to special summon a Candal. We'll activate the effect of Candal, and fetches an Impermanence. Well, let's scoop them up. So we're back with the deck, and sorry to those of you who took out a second mortgage to play Nekroz in 2015, it doesn't look like you've been vindicated. Let's do the pros and cons. First, the pros. 1. The deck is consistent as all hell. It turns out 90% of your deck being searchers means that you're likely to find the same line every game. 2. The bosses are powerful. Vanity's Ruler effectively locks a significant amount of the metagame, and in a format full of monsters that resist death, Shinobaron Peacock does a great job dealing with destruction-proof dinguses. And 3. If you're feeling exceptionally cute, you can replace Saphira with Hungry Burger. And the cons. 1. Unfortunately, despite each hand containing 18,000 search tools, there are multiple ways a single hand trap can stop your setup. Veiler on Dagra, Called on Herald, and Ash on Talismandra are all accessible and intuitive ways in which you can lose the game on sight. 2. The Shinobirds aren't always silver bullets for boards. It turns out if someone's willing to set 3 traps and pass, at least one of those will be able to stop Baroness's Shuffle effect, which can leave you lacking an out to the remainder of the board. And 3, it has an extremely rough time closing games. While its opens are powerful, its follow-up usually consists of praying that a single Trishula is enough to beat Set 1 Monster Pass 8 turns in a row. All in all, it's an interesting, consistent, and adaptable deck, but these blue boys lack the repeatability or explosivity to bring it to the big bunguses of the format. So that's that. While I appreciate all of my viewers, a special thanks to my patrons, especially Tyler Slacks, Crispy, Sir Tachyon, Mika Reichman, Distrin, Lucas Geardis, Adam Trevino, 2nd, Lieutenant Labcoat, Fighting Feng Wang, Meatmoto27, Burrito Man 93, Adrian Bra, Adam Sundquist, Isaac Jackson, and Donnie Fillerup. If you like what you see, please consider subscribing, and if you want to be part of the process, follow me on Twitch as well. Otherwise, I'll see you next time.